Would you rather it off?
Well, he needs to record this again, but I give thanks for darkness and light, full spectrum. Let us open up. Greetings, sister. I've been trying to get so loud for a while. I didn't want to dig it until I came to work. I wanted to come to work. And I give thanks and honor of all the presence in here in this room. And I'm really very pleased that we laid, because I feel the difference. We laid the foundation by starting the cleansing on Friday. So even if you did not start your cleansing on Friday, the foundation has been laid. And the sisters and brothers have been doing it in your behalf as well as their own. We want to open up with, this is going to be part of the altar. You can frame it if you like to remind yourself of 12 principles of the divine sacred woman. Within those 12 principles, you may develop another 12 or another 24. But I laid out what came through me, and I want us to share that together as a foundation. I'd like to say something about Lady Crema, is that she's been on this path and we've gone without me being involved in her life for 20 years, healing herself continuously and working on her spiritual energy. And we came together 6 years. For 6 years we've been working, still fasting. She's always been there. We've been traveling together with the natural living. She deals with the crystals and her magic wands and sage and working with her prayer scarves. What makes her work so strong is that she heals herself continuously every day. And it's really something when we share a hotel room together, because we're passing each other with our drinks, the bath, the clay, and we're just in meditation and working on it. So I give thanks that we're able to travel together on this road. Thank you, Lady Crema. Let's share this together. Let's all rise on this. Stand up. I'll open up and then we'll start as a sacred woman and you go. Now, each word should be as if you're consuming the word into your body as a meal, so that that word, that high word, becomes a part of who you are. And as you keep reading it every day, as the sun rises and as the sun sets, you become more of what you see, and more of what you hear, and more of what you feel. It becomes stronger. Take these 12 principles. These 12 principles are for women who strive to be healed and whole. The woman is the center of the home. If she takes on her sacredness of womanhood, the children and husbandry will be functioning in divine order. As you affirm these principles daily for yourself, you will steadily experience yourself opening up like that of a beautiful lotus. Let us begin. As a sacred woman,
I am the highest physical and spiritual projection of woman consciousness. I represent the abundance of life and health, wealth, love, and beauty. As a sacred woman, I embody grace, dignity, and majesty at all times. As a sacred woman, I epitomize the highest aspects of the feminine principle in my great love of being a woman. As a sacred woman, I nurture myself through the nurturing of others. As a sacred woman, I manifest the highest principles of spirit, mind, and body through an alchemy of thought, word, and deed. As a sacred woman, I can never be abused by man, woman, or child, for I represent the active presence of power of the Almighty Creator. As a sacred woman, I have the power to heal with a glance, a smile, or a word. As a sacred woman, I am the original healer who calls upon my brothers and sisters, the elements, air, fire, water, and earth, to heal physically, mentally, and spiritually. For I am the great-granddaughter of Mother Nature herself. As a sacred woman, I beam and radiate my inner divinity by adorning my outer being with garments befitting my royal form. I will never dress in the
the last part we are not going to sign until we close this section, and that is that recognizing yourself as a sacred woman, you will put your name here, and you will put then the date of today. And so at any moment that you are under some pressure or stress and you call one of your sisters on the phone and you start really complaining, then they'll remind you that you're a sacred woman, and let's approach it this way. Let's breathe first. Did you take your healing back? Did you make these quick decisions or whatever? And they will help you to support you because you're a sacred woman. And we have to support each other really because of this and even more.
If we can expand our circle, we're expecting more people to attend. So if you move your chair back about a foot, we might be able to bring the wheelchairs in.
Stick a chair in everywhere there's a space. Found and Heal Thyself book. Everyone should try to get a copy. And that will help you further the books. Turn to the second page. We all have an image, or if we haven't thought about it, we need to begin to think about an image of what we consider. What does a sacred woman feel like? What does she look like? What does she move like within you? All of you have the sacred woman already. Now it is to take her out and see her all the time. When you're seeing her all the time, then she'll help to put you in check and keep you functioning at a certain level. That means a sacred woman cannot speak just any way. They cannot just sit just any kind of way. They cannot walk just any kind of way. They cannot even rest just any kind of way. They can't even see with their mouth hanging open. So that means they have to be really in divine order even in their sleep. So that is whatever your vision of this sacred divine woman that is inside of you. And so we have the king men here, so whatever the vision of themselves seeing themselves at their most divine state, they also pull that out of themselves. And sometimes as women, we have to pull out our sacred male and move through some doors. And we pull in and out. The more balanced you are, the more you'll be able to bring out the male and the female within inside of your being, and not one overwhelming the other, the balance. But these are some of the neter or the neteru. All of this is really, all of these are the female sides of the creator. We always are focused on the masculine side of the one who created the heavens and the earth. But everything has balance. And I think that kind of makes us feel not as powerful as women, or could, not necessarily if it is always he. It has to be he, and it has to be she. And with that awareness, then you can feel that strength, and you can feel that you can speak the divine words, and you can speak the holy words more so, from authority. So in our most ancient words, I asked my maid is a Kemetic priest, and he has been doing his work for the last 35 years. So these are the list of the divine mothers, women, and when as we call them out, then you'll see the one, or the two, or the three that you can relate to. I myself am Nephet. That is the temple that I work through. And at the closing, we will all take a Nephet cleansing, which is the bowl is here, and it's for purifying the divine house. And it's set up where the structure is straight. It's like this. And matter of fact, it's right here. This is my symbol.
where this is the home, and this is the meditation space, and this is the Ma'at feather, which when I was given the name, then I had to carry the feather. And we'll go into why the feather is so important for keeping the heart balanced. And this is part of our legacy. To have a balanced heart is to have wise judgment at all times. So as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, you're checking, is my heart in sync? Is my heart heavy? Is my heart in distress? And then you will go for meditation to empty the heart and make it light. When our hearts are heavy, we do grow tumors. We grow cysts. We carry much disease in our body. So we have to constantly keep it clean and clear, but it's only through that I've seen the purging of the body in the mental state, the emotional state, and the physical state. So let's just go through some of the divine principles of the Creator. And the first one is, let's say it together, Ta'ert.
Ta'ert.
That's the great Earth Mother. And our High Mother from on our left, who was taking the children on, the youth. Can you see the image of that? You see that, and what happens is because the children are at very respectful places next to her, it has also strengthened her. And we have a high vision of what that is to look like. So it actually inspires us as we become more mature women. This is an image. That's why images are very extremely important. And even when I put my formulas together, I put an image of ourselves. Because we don't see images of ourselves on health products, on women's formulas, on anything. We don't see them in books. I looked at many books. I've never seen African children eating healthy, not natural foods. So, and I knew how clear that was when I took my clay formula to a European store who held and took my book on. And he said, these are black people on this. I can't carry it. But I said, he wanted to have flowers and apples and pears and bananas on it because he thought more people. I said, but African people come in shopping here predominantly, and it would help us if we could see our own image. He could not get it. But I said, when I look at the protein drinks, I see a muscle-bound European and a muscle-bound European woman and man, and so they're just accustomed that that's how it should be. But that doesn't heal us. That doesn't heal our image of ourselves. So as we see the different images, you may even see the different ones in the room that you might visualize as those divine aspects. Then there's Mut, and that's the mother principle. So you'll call your own mother Mut, and it gives a great respect. And our mother is my mother, myself is really real. That as we love ourselves as women and really embrace ourselves as women, then we have more compassion for what our mothers have gone through. So even at the end of my book, I asked my children for forgiveness ahead of time. I don't want to wait when they're 35 and start sitting and have a conference about me to their girlfriends. And so on. So, my mother was really some of this healing, and she drove me crazy. So we just give thanks for whatever they knew or whatever they didn't know. They did the best they could, and they did great because look at all of you. Yeah. I mean, the end result is that you are really wonderful. You was able to walk in here. You're able to sit up straight. You're able to have a glow. So whatever you think you don't have, you really have quite a bit. And so whatever they gave you, if they gave you the breath of life, you have to give thanks and praise. And so we go to Nut. And that's the sky principle. That's the woman of space. So when you go on a plane or when you are just looking up at the sky from the ocean, you're looking at Nut, and you're looking how much she embraces the whole earth, and you're giving thanks and praise. And then you have Het Heru. Het Heru. And that's the house of the hero of light. And she is the divine nurturer. She is the love supreme. And so you can say, well, I feel like a Het Heru. Who in here is a Het Heru? You walk like a Het Heru. You talk like a Het Heru. You serve like, so you can kind of feel who and where the great mothers of the one who takes. I'll take all the children over my house. Those are the Ta'ert. And then you have Nephet. And let's say that, Ast. Ast. Mother, let's say that together. Ast. Mother of Heru, which he is the hero. Heru is also Jesus or Joshua. Then go on to educator. Educator, let's read that together. Educator, king to be. That's what women are bringing forth, young kings. And then Nephet. And she is the lady of the house. So I am the lady of the house, not someone who just putters around the house, and make sure that the flowers are there, but one who cleanses the house, the divine temple, the heart, the nerves, the arteries. I function from this house, and as this house is purified, then it's then the external house, the temple that you dwell in, and then the other temples at your office space. These are all your various temples and sanctuaries and shrines and so on. And so she tends that, and she also does the birthing as the midwives here at the Healing Drum, and she's the sister love. And Shesheta, say that.
Shesheta.
And she's the, we can say it together, or I'll just do it. Keeper of the secrets of initiation. So what some of the works that we're doing now, this initiation work, is also Shesheta. And then there is Ma'at. And many of us probably heard of Ma'at. And Ma'at is
the principle of righteousness, balance, and truth.
And then there is Sha'id.
Sha'id.
And that deals with destiny and karma. So when things happen and you just can't understand, that's Sha'id is your karma. But you know, you can change some things that seem like they cannot be changed by changing your lifestyle, your attitude, your pattern. If you continue a certain pattern, then it's going to stay there that way. But if you can change up and say, well, I know I've been doing this for eons, but if I start to pray more, if I begin to fast, if I begin to speak in words in a higher way, if I become more gracious, then you can change some of your karma. And then there's Meshkanet. And she's the keeper of the birth chamber. Someone tell me how they see that. Keeper of the birth chamber. How do you see the keeper? Okay, so you could call it a GYN, you could be that. Give him a new name. And or someone who maybe cares for women and women's health concerns. It could be a natural healer, herbalist. And Reminet. And that's the name giver. And names are very powerful. So whatever name that you walk with and step with, that is your walking affirmation. Who you are. You keep saying your name over and over. I just say Om Shanti over again. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om. They say Ankh over again because that represents life. And it's whatever that chant is, it's over and over again. And your name is the chant. So it's over and over again. It's empowering you with that name. You're empowering you with that consciousness. So the name giver is really one who gives a lot of strength. And when you go to naming ceremonies, that's the experience. And some of us may change our names different times because we keep growing and we keep allowing ourselves to grow. I tell people that my name will Heal Thyself will always be the same. Even if someone moves into Heal Thyself, people say that I am Heal Thyself. I said, okay, but even if someone else moves into Heal Thyself, that will stay the same, but I may keep changing. I may keep evolving. And then there's Serket. And the protector of the organs of regeneration. Someone be creative with that. I'm relying on someone to be creative.
Would that be someone who is versed in tantric principles per se, someone who would deal with sexual energies and utilizing that to unlock the life forces, uplifting spiritual consciousness, sexual union, and thus regenerating the whole being?
That is knit. And she's the weaver, the warrior. Let's say together, the weaver, the warrior. Sometimes it's your basic life that you can one time. Maybe going to school, maybe raising the children, maybe going back and forth to your job, doing some writing, just doing various things. So an artist can be doing 5 different things and able to weave it into one thing and be able to move through, as opposed to you feeling like you're stuck over here and you're trapped over here and you're a little piece of you over here. But being able to just like really weave your life and make it as a piece of art, one blending into the next. So that's kind of the next thing. And these are different aspects of the Most High, different aspects of the Creator on the feminine side.
Now, the 64 arts, do you all have pens? Pens, pencils? You take some numbers, you can write. Does anyone have two?
Does anyone need a pen?
Yes.
How many people raise their hand? I never had that many. I have two. Does anyone else have?
Does everybody have a booklet also?
Tayo, Taye, do you have in that little orange bag all those pencils? See if you have that little orange bag, all those pencils.
Everybody okay?
Okay, we're going to go right ahead with this. After this page, I'm going to do what I normally do, is I'm going to go fast forward. Indicate aspects of yourself that you have nurtured and developed. In the Kama Sutra, which is an Indian way, there was called the sacred 64 arts. There were 64 arts that women were supposed to be conscious of. And that made you a royal woman. We're all royal women. Particularly the African woman being the first woman, she is the most royal woman. And in that position, then what made you real extra particular, special, that there was no lack of even drawing things to you because you had so many gifts, is that you did many different things. And some of them would be crafts, sewing, voice, dance, poetry, wood making. You was a herbalist, you did flower arrangements, you were sexually versed, you knew how to raise the children, you knew rituals, you knew how to heal yourself as a woman. Those are just some of the arts. And now there are certain aspects of ourselves that when we think about who we are, what we've been doing, and how much of ourselves have we been developing, it may be just one part of yourself, and that's why your body's like screaming that there's another part of me missing, or there's several parts of me that are missing. When I remember I went on the stage one time, I was going to go backstage with, I put together a Sacred Woman's like a theatrical company for like one day. And these were about 7 or 8 different women, and they had different gifts, artistic gifts. And when they saw me go back with the women, the people in the community said, well, Beautiful, what are you doing on stage? You're a healer. I said, I know, but then I also have some other gifts. And so myself personally, I am opening up more of dance again, and acting again, and singing again, because that was my foundation. The Creator sent me away for 19 years to heal myself. And so now, as I'm going to approach age 40, now I'm going back into that, but I'm bringing all of my healing into the arts. So, you know, you learn instruments, and you learn to move your body, and you learn how to speak, and you learn how to walk, and there's various things that you need to know as a woman. So intuitively, what are some of those things that you would like to endeavor or to focus on the next 6 months or the next year? And I'd like you to list a few of your 64 arts. Let's take a few moments and just list a few of your 64 arts that you want to begin to focus on and bring out, that you've always wanted to do.
Is this on the right side of the column?
It's my left, facing my left. Indicate aspects of yourself that you have nurtured and developed. I'm sorry. That you already have on the side that is closer to the pole. Write down what you have already developed. And on the other side, the side that you're going to be developing, indicate areas that need nurturing and development. You're going to put some time into it. So on one side, it's showing what you have already accomplished as a woman. And it could be something very, very simple. And on the other side, it is things that you're going to begin to attend to. And the reason why we're writing this down is because we tend to forget. Even when a vision comes through to us, when we don't write it down, we say a year later, oh, I was supposed to do that. That came through to me. But we did not write it down. We didn't follow through.
Now, would like just maybe 3 or 4 women to call out some things that they have already, they feel like they have developed within themselves, and then 4 other women to call out various things that wanting to develop. The first one. Aspects that you have already developed, that you feel very good about.
I feel very good about this. I feel I can help myself more spiritual, mentally,
Okay, okay. And then someone else.
4 sons.
And so no one really feels good about what they're doing now. Could you please just share it with us?
Teaching children, and these are aspects that I've nurtured and developed. I'm still developing too.
Yeah, well, they're still developing, but you have opened the way.
Okay, teaching children and teaching women and men about natural childbirth.
One
Mine is I do massage, so it's like the healing art of touching, and I do crystal healing, so just using all of that.
Now, the areas that, of course, this is, we'll open up and say the areas that they are going to be developing now, they're going to make a commitment to.
I used to dance years ago, and I have a desire to begin
When are you going to begin? See, that's the problem. You have to make a clear point now. Say that I'm going to begin at this season, or I'm going to begin at this date, and then you can move through. The most successful businesses are those who make commitments and dates and plans, even if it doesn't all work out at that point. But at least you make a stand. So anyone else? You started? Did you start? Yes.
I want to really some of my part on creative qualities. I was a lot creative years past on poetry and artwork and music like into the that time.
Mothering is always going to come up. Whether it's mothering is mothering yourself, mothering your children, or mothering your mate, or being mothered, or relationship with your mother. This is always going to be something that women are going through. And so every now and again you sit down and take an inventory of the mothering. Is it out of balance? Is it overdone? Is it in harmony? Am I giving enough? Can I mother myself? You know. So you just need to just assess yourself mothering. I think being creative, whatever form of creativity, every woman should do something creative. My creativity is actually putting formulas together now. And there was a point my son said, Mom, please do not create another formula. Because when I do that, I go to possession. I said, oh my gosh, I have this. I got call, I just go through this whole thing, and then I have to hold the formulas with me for a while and pray over them and carry my bag and keep them near the bed and, all of that. And I said, well, it's like if you are connected to the source and the creator is constantly creating, then how are you going to stop creating? So when you start to dance, everyone can dance, whatever you do to connect yourself to your body. Everyone can, as Prima said, we can all sing, and we all can become music within our bodies. And you'll find yourself when you start to dance, it can be without music. It could be to dancing from the ocean, it could be dancing on the grass, it could be dancing yourself out of the bed. Just the movement keeps the circulation going. One of my prayers when I saw a dance company, an African dance club, I said, I wish those sisters would come to some place that they can jump that high and do everything that they're doing. And because that breaks up all that movement helps to break up all the tumors and cysts. And if they work with the diet simultaneously, they will be in superior health. And eventually, that meditation I just put out and left it alone. And about a year later, they all came in because they were doing a major concert, and they all came and got Pilates and started fasting and cleansing. And that was the best
performance they ever had. It was a large amount of people came out, because they were like magnets and they were gravitating on that frequency. So to find a way as women to do something artistic, it doesn't matter if you just sing to yourself or sing to the children or write songs or do your poetry, it feeds of the beauty part of who you are. Lady Trimmer, is she here with us? Joy Johnson? I knew you were ready. Up here? I do like it too. It came from, I'm sorry I didn't give money, but it came from the spirit. Joy Johnson was a part of a research group that we had to get women to have their menses go down from 8 days to 6 days, or 7 days to 4 days, or actually the goal was to eliminate the red menses and to a clear white discharge, or at least bring it down to a day and a few hours. And we went through 7 months of intense cleansing and colonics and fasting and clay packs and everything. But I dedicated it, and she's in the book, I dedicated the poem to, in celebration of woman, full woman free. We are told that we're supposed to have PMS or be in pain or be bloated and all the unnecessary clotting and bleeding, and that is was normal, but it's really not normal at all. And the more that a woman cleanses, the less of that concern she has. And we're not saying that it's bad to have your menses. We're not saying it's negative to have your menses. You're going to have your moon, but it's going to be the most superior kind of moon. It will be clear, or it will be so slight till when it comes in, it's like someone greeting you, and when it's done, it will just go. It won't be anything you have to have a whole week of preparation of agony. Because I remember there was a woman that she would be in such excruciating pain that she wanted to jump out the window, so her girlfriends would come. She'd call them up, give them the morning call. They would come over and hold her hand. And she would just roll on the floor, and she would scream, and she'd go through everything. And then some hours later, she would drop a big clot the size of her hand, and she'd have a full bleeding for about 7 or 8 days. And, after the big clot, then she would be able to be functional. She would just be tired all the time. So that kind of agony is really coming from our diet and our enslavement to this flesh, modern day diet. So full woman free reminds me of women who were very powerful then, who are powerful now, living in our bodies. And as we cleanse ourselves, we become really full women free. So Joy, don't know why I asked you to come up here. And Lady Permanent, did she get in yet?
She's outside. She'll be in a minute.
Okay, well tell her I want her to play her finger piano. Okay.
She doesn't have a what?
She needs her to play it.
The spirit is not on me. It's not, I have nothing to do
It's
with
here
it.
already.
It was told. No, I know. Don't we do that to the Creator too? When Creator says, I want you to get up and talk to the people, I said, but I don't want to, I feel a little shy. He said, get up, and I said, okay. And the Creator talks to all of us, all the time, every moment. And if we be in tune, we get the gift of it. We get the blessing of it. And I don't know, it's kind of dangerous to be around people who be in the spirit, because at any moment you may be called. I tell you, who's getting the spirit, they be calling on each other. So come out and heal us as I speak. All right. And whenever Lady Prima comes in, I'm sorry, she's probably having her salad, that she will join us. And you know why it's probably most appropriate that she was chosen, because of her name alone, of joy. And she carries joy. When I was told that Joy was going to be here, I got ecstatic. I got her name. I got how she is, and I remembered her smile. And whatever's going on around her, about her, she always has a smile. And that smile carries her through. So, and when she dances for us, a spirit dance, she's going to be spreading joy. And we give thanks and praise. So whatever she does, even if she looks at you, or touch, or spin, it doesn't matter, because she's still spreading joy and she's dancing. All we want to do here is to be full woman free. Let's all do this together. Let's turn to page 98. You can please follow me. And you follow me and look at her and look down at the book. Well, you're going to get your book. You got to get your book. Let's all breathe together. Let's breathe 4 times on joy, on our joy. We're going to be four times Nathan, we just need you to accompany Joy. Joy needs accompaniment. Yes, please.
Excuse me, what page did you?
That's page 98. I need 4 actresses. Sister, she knew it. See her eyes, but she just
This is the drama sister of the West.
Is she? Oh,
This is
yes.
my sister Queen who brought me
Yes,
to
she's the
Atlanta.
one. Does she have a book? Do you have a copy? I'll let you hold. I have one. Okay, copy. She's the great moot.
It's full, too.
She's the one.
She's full and free.
She is full. I like it. An honor for her presence.
Now, I must tell you all, when I get into start teaching, I just leave the spirit, I just move from here to there. We have to have part 2. Let's be clear about that. This is really an 8-hour process. We're tightening it up here. So I know I'll be seeing you again. We're going to have retreat, so I've been told. So we will be looking at each other again. The works that you get today, we want to keep moving with the works today, so when we come together, you're not starting from base 1. We can now accelerate. So, this is for you. And I want one other sister who feels very full in her spirit. If she felt full, she'd probably jump up already. And zig. Come on. Oh, she is the one. Come on. Oh, yeah. She's the one. She's the one. She's definitely the one. So you will have that. You know what I do is no, I'm gonna let you go. I know it's gonna be perfect. Right there. Okay, and or whatever you want it to be as a woman. And then you just go to the end of that. Yes. Let me open up, so I can open up the vibration. And then you'll go from, we just want to be natural. That's it. And that's all 3 together, 4 times of foundation and oneness. And inhale. Releasing and inhale. All we want to do here is to be full women. We can't be full and free if we drip, drop. Oh, we just want to be free and as full as the roaring ocean, blazing sun and full moon, and wide earth and high mountains and space. We just want to be natural women, those women who created the pyramids that still stand to the heavens, those women who lived off herbs and bushes and berries and you here. Those women who did not bleed, not the first women. We want to be free to dance the dances of joy and sing songs of bliss and say words of power and touch lives so deep, so sweet. We don't want no more pain. We don't want to give no more pain. No more bleeding, crying, weeping, moaning. I can't use no PMS. No more tumors resting in my nest. I'm gonna free me from my bondage. And who said I gotta be cursed anyway? I'm gonna be free. Oh, it's that cycle again. Oh goodness, oh gracious, there's a war going on in here. Oh,
I've been wounded 1, 3, 5, 7 days. Oh no, don't take my wound. Give me back my wound, my nest. I got a swirl in my nest, a growth. Leave my breast alone. Let me be, let me be. I gotta dance with my breast. All I want to do here and now is to be full women free. Natural women, women sacred, women divine, women loving, women gracious, potent and kind, women clean, women whole, women healed.
Whatever you want to be as a woman, go on and be. Can't nobody put no limits on me. If you want to be an artist, go on and be. If you want to be a scientist, go on and be. If you want to be a mother who's a writer, go on and be. If you want to make soup or even own a business or do cartwheels down the street, go on and be. Being, you're so powerful, so purified, so spiritual. You can be anything you want to be. If you want to be president of an African country, child, go on and be. Whatever I want to do and be, Mother, Father, God already gave it to me. We women just want to be, and we're going to be, and we are full, free women. Because if I don't feel full within myself, I just might lose myself. And I love you, free women. I don't want to lose any of you. I love all of me. Free women, go on and be free.
Free women. You don't got this theater inside of us.
I have to say I'm the shyest person I
That's over. We're all actors, actresses, singers, dancers, and musicians, and healers. We are all healers, and we're going to heal ourselves. Give thanks. That was truly exciting. Let me just give you this is the story of the menses, according to how I see it, according to what I've experienced. We have mucus in our systems. I'm so ecstatic about that. So I forget actually about the earth stuff. And I want just to demystify the tumor so that we can be okay with it and we can let it go. That's why we say, let your disease away. If you're angry at it, how dare this cancer happen to me? Many times we can't fight it or you can't let it go. So it makes it easier if you can just say, if I take these juices, I'll send the sickness away. If I put my clay packs on, it'll be no more. And so, if our diets are built up on a flesh diet, automatically you're going to have a longer menses. If it is built up on
any of the flesh, and the most concentrated flesh is, of course, the red meat, the pork, the lamb, the beef, then the chicken, and down even to the fish. The fish is the last of the flesh that we need to be about. But our bodies are not made up to consume flesh. Our teeth are molders. And so what it does is really designed to mash apples and pears and fruits and vegetables and herbs. And if it has fangs in it, and we're really carnivorous eaters, meat eaters, then we should not have to put gravies on the flesh. We should not have to cook them. We should be able to just go into that animal and eat just like we do an apple. We could go into an apple like a pear or orange, just like that, because that's our natural way. So we should be able to just take that animal and just consume it. And then our digestive juices are not made that way to break down bones and to break down the hard flesh and so on. And our colon is also too long as a result to breaking down the flesh. So that means it will sit in the colon and it rots. And that's why we start to get the odors. I had an opportunity with one of my clients is that she had breast tumors everywhere. And one of her breast was open, wide open. And so you saw bubbles, like bubbles of it, and pus would be coming out all the time, and the odor was intense. And the other breast was just sunken all the way in. And this is what, she had flesh every day of her life, 2 or 3 times every day. And she stayed on a lot of milk and cheese and ice cream and so on. So it took a lot of work and to begin to at least stop it from oozing out and stop it from bleeding. It never came back up again, but it didn't get any worse. It just pretty much stayed where it was and healed itself. But she took wheatgrass, she took clay pads, she took colonics, she had live foods, live juices, very light steam diet. So she began to do quite a bit of healing. So what we're ingesting mostly, if we are consuming the flesh, we are consuming tumors. And so we are what we eat. When you have mucus, and mucus is the end result of taking in the animal product, the byproduct, which is the milk, cheese, ice cream, eggs, and it's also the result of taking the flesh itself. Now, if you have mucus, wherever the mucus crystallizes at, that's where the waste is. That's where the disease is. If it crystallizes in the head, then you have either a tumor in the brain or you have forgetfulness, senility. If the mucus crystallizes in the eyes, then you have glaucoma. If it crystallizes in the sinus, then you have sinus congestion. If it crystallizes in the ears, mucus, then you cannot hear well. And if it crystallizes in the throat, then you lose your voice, you have tonsillitis. If it crystallizes in the lungs, then you have eczema, asthma, and emphysema and asthma. If it crystallizes in the reproductive organs, then you have tumors or you have cysts. And what I've observed is most people who have had tumors or cysts is they started off with a discharge maybe for years and they're constantly taking medications, most of them come to see me. And they're taking medication for some time to stop the vaginal discharge. They stop the vaginal discharge after taking the medication after a while, but then they're still eating the ice cream, they're still taking the eggs, they're still taking the milk. So now the body is not strong enough anymore, cannot fight for itself or fend for itself, so it does not push out the poison. It doesn't push out so you don't have any more discharge. So that means that it's starting to become like a snowball. It stays inside the body. Now we don't want to have discharges, but we have to stop eating the food that creates it. And then we don't want to, if we take the medication to suppress it, then the body has to go to sleep so that you have what I call a sleeping vagina. And then when it sleeps, then whatever bacteria is in yourself or your mate, it crystallizes in the system. Let's turn over to the next page to see visually. How to feed a tumor, how to feed and grow a tumor or cyst, and heavy menstrual bleeding, how to treat that. On one side it said foods that feed a tumor or cyst into the womb or breast of a woman. So when many women will come back and say, I had a tumor removed, and about a year or two later it's going to grow back. It's going to grow back.
And then what happens is you go, if you move again, a year or two later it's going to come back again. And then the third time, when you go back to the doctor, say, well, it's grown back again, then they're going to say, have you having children? And you have, that question is a lead-in. So why don't you go right ahead and then have a hysterectomy? Where's that sheet? See this sheet here? With more than, it says, why so many hysterectomies? With more than 550,000 hysterectomies performed in the United States in 1990, the operation is one of the most frequently performed surgical procedures for women, second only to cesarean sections. More than one-third of women past the age of 55 have had the operation. In the recent past, hysterectomies were considered the cure for all bothersome female problems. And so this is what we're up against. We are, and it's really most prevalent, because this is about black women. It's most prevalent for African women. And what we are doing is because we're under a lot more stress than everybody else. We do not release the tension. We just absorb the pain, and we absorb the tension. And because there's so much friction between ourselves and our reflection, our mates, it just strengthens it. And many times women will be so frustrated in their relationships that they use foods, or their lives, our lives. They will use foods for soothing different parts of ourselves. So when you find yourself drinking a lot of milk or wanting a lot of ice cream, and you'll just notice maybe, I know I've gone through it in the past. Chocolate is one, the black man. And then if you want a lot of milk and cheese and stuff, you just want nurturing. You want the breast in a sense. You go back to the cow and you want to have more of the nurturing. So instead, you just start to nurture yourself, to give yourself what you need, and to love yourself a lot. That's why I tell women, when you don't have a mate, that's a great time to heal yourself. So don't start getting depressed, where's the mate? If you don't heal yourself and you get the mate prematurely, then you're going to get madness and havoc. So it's better that you heal yourself, raise your vibration up, so that the mate that you have is truly the reflection that you've been looking for, as opposed to what you think you are, and you get what you really are, and then you want to put it back somewhere, or you want to blame it, and it ain't even about him. It comes back to the woman healing herself. So that takes a whole lot of pressure off you. You say, oh, it's not you, brother. So I can heal myself. It's a lot of freedom. So we'll get onto that one. Okay, so what I put the little arrows right here so you can kind of see, but it's really attacking the womb. It's also attacking the breast. If you're considering any of these things, circle them, because you're going to have to make amends that you're going to let it go as of today. Or either you say, well, I know that in the next few years I will be getting a 2 months, and then that's okay as long as you don't mind having it. But be conscious that you have created it, because you are doing the Creator's works. You are creating your life. All right? So circle what you are addicted to right now. And you know when you're addicted is when you say, I'm going to stop, and the next day you get chicken calling you from the refrigerator. Then you are addicted. Or if you don't have any, you'll say, you go to your girlfriend's house, you know on Friday she has chicken. And by chance, you say, well, I'll just have a little piece of that. That little piece gets us in so much trouble, because that leads you into poisoning your system again and to craving it again. And we have to go through a period of detoxification. Once you detoxify your system with drinking plenty of water, with taking your herbal forms, which I put together a master herbal formula for the women to help to begin the cleansing process called Woman's Life, that you'll see in there. Once you start working with these things, once you start putting the clay packs on that I put together, once you start actually doing exercises and breathing to begin to break that mass down, then the craving will be less and less and less, whatever the poison is. So you circled your addiction? All right. Because once you can admit to it, then you can start breaking the chain, because you realize that the food has more power than you than it doesn't. Yes.
Can you explain what acid sperm is?
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Acid sperm. Never saw that on the chart before. So I'll tell you. How you know what? I have to get to that first. The acid sperm is what my mate came up with. Because I would always talk about it. And what made me talk about was research women. Because there was one woman, there were a few women, but I remember one woman who had been working with me very closely. And every day we had vegetable juices during lunch breaks, we had salads and all, natural foods, because I always felt that the healer has to have their health up and really be an example. So she had an old mate. Everybody knows the picture. She had an old mate that just came into her life 2 days ago. They came together, she came in crawling. I said, what is wrong? She couldn't, her glands were swollen. Her face had dropped. She had a high fever. She couldn't talk. And she was hunched over. I said, what happened? She said, I don't know. I went to sleep, and I woke up in a mistake. And I gave her a colonic. I gave her a steam bath. I gave her a healing bath. I put clay back. I gave her golden field. I gave her wheatgrass. It was 3 hours. And we're talking. I said, you know what? This probably is something else. Meanwhile, we're talking through her sickness and her fever. And I remember one of the sisters told me just the other night. She said that she was on. She's been a vegetarian, eating pretty good, and she had a mate about 11 months ago. And then she went to the doctor 2 months after the union. Or she went to the doctor somewhere in that time. And the doctor said that she had a tumor. And I was talking about the nutrition, and she said, wait a minute. My man eats ice cream and cookies every day on a consistent basis. I said, looks like he injected that tumor into you. She said, how often y'all make it? Well, a few times a week. I said, that's probably all we needed to take. And then when the sister heard what I just said, she said, wait a minute. He wasn't cleansed before. He was eating fried chicken. He was eating French fries. And she went through the whole list of everything he normally was eating while they were not together. And she said, wait a minute. After we made love, 30 minutes later, she became feverish. Her throat became inflamed. All she could do was just fall asleep. And she was not functioning to help take care of the children the next day. I said, that's just don't work. And then I started really talking to women. The same reaction reverses itself to a brother. And a brother said, he is married to a woman who refuses to change her ways. She doesn't want to cleanse, she doesn't want to heal, she doesn't want to do anything, but he's very much into his health. So he always has to wear protection, which at this point in time, everybody better do something. But he always has to, just because whenever he would make love with her without protection, he would always break out of blisters. So inside of her womb is a cesspool of acid and toxins and gases and mucus. It's a danger. So you have to look at it. When your new mate comes in, you have to size him up differently. You just can't say, oh, he looks so good and he has money and he seems so successful and I like his family. You have to really check him and you have to cleanse him for at least a period of 3 months.
I'm on hold.
Yes, you can. I'm just throwing out what I feel you should do. And if some of you are a little anxious, then you better have had him cleansed before you better pray that he's already cleansing before you come there. Because I had a sister just who did my hair, she was crying. She came in so depressed. I said, well, sister, maybe I'll do my own hair. I had to raise her, I went and ran to my healing lamps and gave all kinds of drinks to raise her vibration up. And she just said, I said, what's it? I said, are you pregnant? And you don't have what is happening? And she says, no. She says, I have a venereal disease. She's one of my top folks who lives off of wheatgrass and steam baths and shrubs and all the healing that's there. And vegetables is fresh. I said, but I know the brother, and he dips and dabbles a little bit with this and that. And she said, I know, I have to really get. But he told me when we came together that he was cleansing with you. I said, did you check him? You a healer. You have to check everything. You check your food. You check the environment you're in. You have to cleanse him with love. And then so now she learned that this is a real thing here. It's not a joke. Because one sister, she bleeds profusely. And she's on a very intense cleanse. She lost about 80 pounds. And she's been healing consistently. And every time she makes love with her mate, she bleeds. And she's in pain. And so we have got to get very clear about the foods that we're ingesting. And part of the things that we're ingesting is our mate. So now if your mate is on the same diet and he's on natural foods or whole grains and very light diet, how you're supposed to be on, then he'll give you sweet nectar. And he will transform you. That's when you get into tantric sexuality and even thinking of higher ways in holistic lovemaking. When your senses become so charged and your visions become charged. And I wrote this poem after making love. I'm going to read this to you.
because it was just so intense. I said, a vision! I said, just keep turning 4 pages to page 9. Because otherwise, it's not love you're making, it's war. And it's war on your uterus. And it's war on your mate as well. Okay. It says, love me, my king, please love me good. And I've never read this to anybody, so I'm almost nervous. So I write stuff that I have to leave the room for. Your sperm has to be organic for me, made from pure foods and pure thoughts so graciously. For I rely on the Most High that dwells in you, to feed me pure light, so true, so true. Your sacred nectar when injected into me reaches my heart, my blood, my brain, and my veins. I, Earth Moon Mother and new cosmic queen, need nectar that has been charged supreme with green life of kale, sprouts, beets, and turnip greens. No flesh, no grease to enter me, no milk nor cheese to rest in me, no mental poison, greed, or pain, just love, my darling, should remain. In my palace of beauty, my corridors of bliss, shower your waters of power and purity, for I ingest what you give to me and give it back effortlessly. When sperm is pure and charged with raw light, each cell, each nerve shall then ignite. As cycles come and come and come, I feed you then my nectar sweet of pears and plums and cantaloupe trees. For pure male nectar leaves me tumor-free if I also take good care of me. Love me, my beloved king, love me good, so I can be who I should, a divine earth mother and you. It should be that sweet when you tell your mate, my darling, I love you so much. Some cleansing and healing. And he'll be so happy because you're such a gracious woman and you're so beautiful the way you behave and how you respond and how you act. He will be glad to go through. He'll be glad to go through a program. Because what happens is the wait is a week. Even if you say, let's go through 7, let us go through something together. It's not a judgment. It's not like one is higher than the other. You say, let us together harmonize our vibration first and go through 7 days of intense cleansing, or better, 21 days of intense cleansing together. Let us bathe each other. Let us massage each other's feet. Let us do exercise together. Let us go walk in the parks together. Let us meet each other's soul. Let us meditate and pray together. And then at the point that your mind within you gives you that guidance, then you can come together. Can we agree upon that for those who are in waiting? And you can make those choices then. Now the sisters who are, now this is the other side. If you hadn't read, some of you are starting to breathe and panic. It's okay. If you have the mix right now, then you don't have to make it, don't make an issue of it. Because men do not want to come for healing on a whole readily. They usually will tell you that's for you, and as a woman still, in their own different ways. And the older the man is, the more intense it is. So what you have to do is like the old women would do. And I was reading the midwifery book the other day and talking to older women. They didn't tell you what they put in their soup. They just made their soup. Even when young girls want to come and learn how to make the herbs or make the tinctures or do different things, they didn't tell you how they made their biscuits, they just did it. They just would look and hum and keep working. So what you have to do is, if you see that there is an imbalance in your mate, if he's frustrated, if he's angry, because all that comes in you, then you have to do is start making him his chamomile. Always have inside your healing laboratory. What's the healing laboratory? Where's the Okay. That is a place of power, and that's where you put your combinations together to do your alchemy work, so that you can really help to strengthen your mate and your children. So you have your chamomile in there, you have your hops, you have your valerian, you have your wood betony if something is a little insane. And you always keep that energy there because that will keep the nervous system calm. At the same time that you drink that, you can put that into a healing bath by using 3 teaspoons of each of those to a quart of water and letting it steep for anywhere between 4 to 8 hours. The same way that when one drinks it, they receive it. When you put it in the bath, they receive it through their pores as well. Okay. Always, as you're healing someone else, you heal yourself. Whenever a client comes to me, I get a chance to breathe all day long. Because everyone who comes to see me, we always do breathing. And so I have maybe 1,000 breaths at the end of the day. And if they drink Golden Seal and I feel like I have a need for it, I'll be drinking it right along with them. When I serve them vegetable juices, I'll be taking vegetable juices with them. So when you're working with your mate, that's your reflection. So that shows you something about yourself because you're only going to attract yourself. So if the mate is very divine, then that's something you have work to develop within yourself. If the mate is very vexed in spirit, then that's something within yourself that you must heal as well. So that's how you work with the transformation. So let's go. So we checked either whether it be flesh, go back to page 5. Cows or goats or milk, goat milk, cheese, goat cheese or cow cheese in the body, milk and sugar, based ice cream as opposed to like soy ice cream, the eggs, the 5 foods, and the acid sperm. We're clear on the acid sperm. It's just acid foods inside the mate, or anger. And then on the other side, these are some of the emotions. If you keep festering anger, keep festering worry, resentment, lack of forgiveness, lack of love, and depression. Now, some of us are experiencing all these within one day. We're really bombarding ourselves. So what we have to do is check our outer environment and our inner environment and begin to change our states, our attitudes about things. So circle that you are experiencing on a consistent basis so that you can become more aware of it, so you can begin to, when you drink your water, you can be saying, I'm releasing the anger. I'm releasing, then you drink your juice, I'm releasing the resentment. But a real profound way to do it is when you immerse yourself into the water and you massage your body and you take the water as hot as you can and you put your salts in and so on, and you release the anger, the worry, the resentment, the lack of forgiveness, the lack of love and depression in the water. Of course, at that point, you need to let that water out of the tub and get a new bath and then bring in the beauty. So let's just say, I release each one of these. I release anger, I release worry, I release resentment, I release lack of forgiveness, I release lack of love, I release depression. Now, when you have that forgiveness thing, you know how we do with the men in our lives, for example, sisters as well as brothers, is that we put them in different parts of our body. One brother's on this leg, another brother really wore your back after you say, oh, he just wants something. And anywhere you place your hand, you think about somebody, that's where he left his energy, that's where you receive energy. Oh, I can't stand him. And we put a lot of it here. How could he do that? Everything is pressed inside. And so wherever that is, when you're in your bath, you're going to feel where you left so. He said, well, I want everyone out. What are you doing on this breast? And on that ovary? What? And they left essence of themselves inside of your being also. That's why you cannot go from one mate to the next mate. You have to have a good washout. And so that you don't carry the pain of one to the next. Now, every lesson is a blessing. So everything that's ever happened to you is because it's come to teach you something. And even in how you be able to work with it is, if someone really, like in my remembrance, one of the most intense relationships I had, in order for me to forgive him, and forgive the relationship, is to tell him, I want to thank you so much for teaching me what I don't need to have in mate. You know, I really appreciate that. Now I'm very clear. So when I go, and I go expound. So when I go into the new union, that I won't have to carry that in, and I really want something totally different. So that's how you be able to, you should write down all of your relationships. Write all the men down. We're going to do that exactly in your life. And then you'll have to go through each one of them. Because you're carrying a remnant of one into the next. And even the one you may have, you may be acting to that mate as opposed to being able to see him new because of 5 of the combinations of the other energies that you carried into that union without washing that. Are we reacting to life because we had chicken from last week and pizza from yesterday and some ice cream from the night before that? We're having reactions. So we still have reactions from other unions, even if not from this life, the past life, that we still have not let go. And then what you'll notice is all black men are. And all black men are, whatever you'll put, you know? Then, just like when I went to teach 1,000 Ways to Love a Black Man, I had 2 reactions. I had women who were angry at me. How do you mean 1,000? They don't never serve me. I'm not going to serve you. One said, look, I don't have nothing to do with no black men no more. I just have white men. You know, goes on. Then other sisters were so happy. They said, oh, sister, I can't wait to take that class. And it's just that if you put 1,000 watts of power and love and energy and sweetness on you, then you just have that much abundance. And then you attract that much wattage coming back to yourself. But don't be surprised when it knocks you out, knocks you off your feet. Because all that love that you're giving to yourself now, that yourself was waiting for, and then that divine king there standing before you, and you're like, oh my God, what did I do to deserve it? All your prayers and all your meditations and all your washing, scrubbing, and cleaning did that. Because you still, whenever you open up your eyes, it's a new beginning. So your mate that you had from last night does not have to be your same mate. That mate can be new according to your renewal of yourself and your heart. You can start loving yourself to such a degree. We won't get to that after 21 days because we have to get to the ones we have, then the ones for the future. But look, keep this all in mind that if whoever you have right next to you from yesterday has an opportunity to change overnight, like a twinkling of an eye, miracles can be performed. To the level of your growth and your development will be the level of the growth and development of the reflection. Now what happens is you may work on yourself and your mate may become resistant. That's maybe part of you that's being released. So if the mate leaves, you have to give thanks to the mate you have, and you have to give thanks to the mate that just left. But many times we ask for peace in our lives. And then when we finally get, then when it starts to come, we say, I don't want no peace. Please don't leave me. But that was the industry. I just want to have something. You know, we were raised as young black African women. Look, it's better to have something. I remember that in the school when I was little girl, sisters and women. It's better to have some half a man than no man at all. And we have been taught, you all know that chant. That is a collective chant that we have to wash out and purge out. So let's say it again so we don't send that down to our youth. It's better to have, imagine telling our daughters right here in the center, it's better to have half a man than no man at all. And so when you get a half a man and you start getting tumors and cysts, it's not helping you to heal. So you look for the fullness in the man and you look for his divineness. If you can even see him clear, that will be his link to help to pull him through. If you can see him already well and already a king. When I say a king, I hear you above you, I said, hail king. Hey, it's so good to see you. If you see him like that, they'll be like that. But if you see him like, you know how we can do. Do you know how we use our eyes, our shoulders, and our necks, including our hips? This is the stance that I had to let go of. I had to release this stance if I was going to be a sacred woman. These are one of them. The hand, the back, all of this involvement. And then you get with your girlfriends. If you're not talking, we have sister to sister, so when we get with each other as women, we don't be putting the men down. We lift ourselves up. And in lifting ourselves up, then we lift our men up. And if one sister's crying about her mate, then we say, this is what you can do to heal the situation. And if you don't have the answer, another sister across the room, she has the answer. And so we all work together to help to heal the nation, but through the woman. So this, anytime you see yourself going through this one, better go. One in a possession. And then if you give another sister and y'all do that dance together, and then she just feel like having a part, and she feel like playing with that, because that's another part of myself we want to play. Oh, great. Lady Prima, honey, and let me tell you. And you say, but you can change it up if you want to play. You say, oh, girl, I love those songs. That part really fits me well. You know, take it with that energy. Because that's a part of myself they call the color girl, where she's just very colorful. And she moves, but just don't take the color and put your eye on somebody. Take the eye and lift him up from the dead. Don't take your eye and bury him into the earth. Hallelujah. And put his dirt. At least about that one. Let's go to the next page. Okay. Now we're going to starve it out, wash it out, and bless it out. Look at my time. Time is running kind of close. Okay. How to starve and release a tumor or cyst and heavy menstrual bleeding. And it says in the book, know that you are a distinctive, beautiful flower and a healing herb with breasts and buttocks and a womb. And that you, Earth Mother, woman contained within you the wisdom and power to heal thyself. And these are the foods that feed wellness into the whole body temple, but particularly to the vaginal area, the womb of the woman, and the breast. And what applies to the woman also applies to the king man. It applies to the queen. Like once it came today, she's been cleansing 3 days. She says, I feel like a queen today. She feels like her natural self. When you cleanse yourself, you feel like your natural queendom self. Don't you feel like a queen, sister? Who else? Where's the sister that came to me? She said, you just say how you feel.
I just woke up feeling like a queen. I just wanted to feel what I'm feeling. And I am. I feel great.
When you're feeling good within yourself, if she has a mate or not, who comes into that atmosphere, then be transforms and transfixed into that. Yes.
I do want to say this morning I could tell that it was happening. And it was funny because for the first time I didn't want to be seen looking like I had just waken up. You know, so I had gotten up, I watched